Dreamers.
Hi, Caviar Dreamers. We have Todd Plummer, Eat, Gay, Love.
He is a lawyer and a writer.
Yes, a travel writer.
He changed his career. He went to school in McGill, worked hard, was working away on his path to be a lawyer, and thought, holy fuck, what am I doing? And had a quarter-life crisis.
Yeah, he says it's a quarter-life crisis because he was in law school simultaneously as being a society writer, and then he was like, shit, I don't want to do this. I really want to be a travel writer. So I think it took a chutzpah to tell his parents, pay for this law school. I don't want to be in a cubicle. I don't want to do this. I want to travel. I want to write. I want to eat great food in different countries and make money at it.
And simultaneously, he'd had an incredible career as a society writer for such a young age. He'd interviewed Martha Stewart. He'd interviewed Leonardo DiCaprio. He had interviewed Mayor de Blasio, Gisele Bündchen in her own home. He had achieved so much in that career, too. And that career was off to a flying start, apart from the time that he asked him on who David was on the nameplate necklace she was wearing, probably not a highlight. But he'd done some things that we all want to do. Go to fashion shows, go to society galas at Cipriani. He was living that high life as a society reporter. So he had a couple of times that he was at the pinnacle of, on a great trajectory and questioned what he wanted to do.
I know. I absolutely agree. And then he realized, you know what, once you start, as I always say, feeding the beast, making that big money, being a lawyer, working till all hours of the night, how would he give that up? Yes. So he knew he had to make a career change very early on, even though he went through all that schooling. So I think he's going to inspire you all. He's going to tell us his great places to travel, some of the most underrated areas, some of the most overrated areas, and where he loves to be, and a place where he finds fabulous that I'm going to be traveling to soon. So let's just welcome on. Hey, Todd.
Hi, Todd. Hello.
Todd Plummer. We're so excited to have you.
It's so funny because we met at a Pride event pre-pandemic, the World Pride, the big Pride event at the Rainbow Room. And we met in the street afterwards, and you're a friend of Lindsay's. And then here we are, fast forward, ready for Pride again. And it's like we skipped a whole year of our lives.
We skipped a whole year.
Yeah, we went out with a bang.
Yes, right? Out with a bang. And now you're back to traveling again, which makes me very happy. So you could write about all these great places that you've been and tell me where I should be traveling.
Yes, absolutely.
So we told our listeners, obviously, a little bit of backstory about how you landed in this dream job where you literally spend your life traveling and writing about things that are phenomenal.
Yeah, but you created that yourself. You decided to do that dream job because you were more of a society writer until you had your moment of your Eat, Pray, Love moment that you coined Eat, Gay, Love. And you took a one-way ticket to Bali. So could you tell everybody about that?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I had a quarter-life crisis is how it came about. I moved to New York right after college, and I knew I wanted to write. I knew I wanted to be a journalist of some sort. And I ended up writing about society for almost 6 years, and which was amazing. It was the perfect first media job. I was going out every single night of the week, meeting new and interesting people. I can talk to anyone. I can talk my way out of a paper bag if I have to. And those years were so exciting and great, but very grueling and I came to understand that it wasn't what I wanted to do for my whole career. And there came a time around 2017 when I was like, I cannot schmooze with another socialite for another minute of my life. I need to get out. And I gave up my apartment in New York and reinvented myself as a travel writer overnight, and bought a one-way ticket and just started traveling, and basically did that for about 2.5 years until the pandemic happened. So yeah.
I know. And were you like, holy shit, now the pandemic is going to set me back? Are you like, now what am I going to do?
It was pretty wild to be a travel writer who didn't have a home, basically, and not be able to travel anymore. So I had to move back in with my parents in Massachusetts, which has actually been kind of a mixed bag. Like it's been good. It's been good, I should say. I'm clearly very insecure about being 30 and living at home.
No, I think so many people.
Yeah, in a pandemic, you get a pass.
Yeah, pandemic, you get a pass. And I think so many people wanted to do that because they didn't want to be alone. So many people did live with family. I don't think that's a big deal. So don't go up about that.
And now,
No,
were you
it's been
traveling
good.
when the pandemic hit? Were you in a fall location?
I was, when it became clear that like things were about to go down, I was in Vancouver Island, Canada, which is, I mean, not super remote, but it is kind of a pain to get to from Boston and New York. It's the other side of the continent. You're basically in Alaska.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, like, when you decided, okay, so when this pandemic's over, you were like, where's the first place you were going to go? Where did you go? Where was the first place as soon as travel opened up?
The first place I really went was Bermuda a few weeks ago.
Ooh, I love
Nice.
Bermuda. And now where do you suggest to stay in Bermuda?
There's a brand new St. Regis hotel that just opened there that is fabulous to die for.
I absolutely love that. Because you know what? Joe used to love Bermuda, but I've never been to Bermuda. Do you believe that?
I know.
And I love to
So close. It is so close. The flight was about like an hour and 10 minutes. I think from New York, it's an hour and 15.
Oh, that's so close.
So you can get there faster than like going to Montauk most weekends.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
because Montauk is so crazy. So
Yeah.
so do you see yourself just like traveling the rest of your life? What was it? Did you travel as a child? I mean, what was it about travel that you were like, this has to be my life?
I didn't really come from a traveling family at all. We're like old school New England WASPs. We've like been here from the Mayflower and haven't even traveled much since. But I just sort of got the itch. I've lived in the Northeast between Boston and New York my whole life, and I just wanted to get out and start seeing everything.
I know.
Now, originally, you went to school and became a lawyer. So
Mhm.
this was obviously quite some change. Go from practicing law, you're a legal intern at part of it, which is obviously in that fashion and social IT space. But how did your parents feel? Was it hard to break it to them like, hey, I just committed to law school, did all this, and now I want to write about like what Gigi Hadid wore last night?
So I have kind of a weird story. My society writer years and law school coincided.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a number of years when I was in school all day, busting my balls in law school, and then going out all night writing for Vogue.com about Kendall Jenner. And law school played into the quarter life crisis. By the time it came time to graduate, I was like, I don't want to go sit in a cubicle 100 hours a week making money for some partner that doesn't care about me. Like I need to like do something wild while I'm still young. And I was a freelance writer at the time, so I already had great relationships with a lot of my publications. So I was able to just sort of reinvent myself as a travel writer and hit the road and use travel writing to finance seeing the world for 2.5 years.
Which I love that.
So smart.
You know what? So many people don't have the balls, for lack of a better word, to do something like that because you did go to law school. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have like the guilt. How am I going to tell my parents? Law school is expensive, but you really, went after your passion, which I love so much because I think so many people don't do that and they operate a lot out of guilt or just like, listen, obviously a lawyer, a lot more, hours. And it's, people are like, oh my God, I'll make so much more money as a lawyer. Let me do something I'm not as happy with, but I'm going to have more money
And security.
and security. What do you think? What was it in you? Were you just like, I want to be happy? Because I think so many people don't have that in them. And I think you can inspire them.
I think what it all comes down to is I wasn't buying into the timeline that everyone was trying to put on me. Like when you go to law school, your professors, the administrators, your peers, all you talk about is getting a job after school. And it's sort of drilled into you that to like be a good lawyer, the gold standard is to get recruited by a firm and start working right after law school. But once you get recruited by a firm, like that's kind of it. Like you get used to making that amount of money. And in law, they call it the golden handcuffs. So once you start like having that security and making money, it becomes really hard to leave. So to do something like decide to travel the world for 2 years becomes a lot harder. You know, you rent the posh apartment in Manhattan, you start living this lifestyle, and you need to be making that much money. So.
Yes, you have to feed the beast, as I always say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just feeding the beast. So when you're traveling, do you take anybody with you?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
a lot of people want to go with you.
It has to be someone that I like really trust. It can't be a new friend.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be like an old friend I've known forever, and that, you know, I know that we'll get along if, you know, because people's true colors come out when they travel, right? So you want to be with someone who like isn't gonna have a meltdown if there's a plane delay or their bag gets lost or whatever. You want someone easy. I brought some boyfriends on the road too. That almost never works out.
I know. Are they like, are you ever just like, don't embarrass me, this is my job, behave accordingly? You have to give people the tools, right?
Oh my God, yes. I brought a boyfriend to Lake Tahoe once on a work trip, and we were having like a beautiful hosted dinner. The hotel was like so happy to give us dinner, and he like didn't understand the dynamic that it's not polite to like order the most expensive thing on the menu all the time. So we sat down and he was like, we'll have the bottle of Cristal. And I was like, oh. So like, and not even if you're on a sponsored trip like me, if you're on like a regular trip, like you just need to be with people who know how to read the room, you know?
Yes. Oh, believe me, I'm on a show with people who don't know how to read the room. That's my biggest line also. It's just like, yeah, if someone else is hosting, you don't order the most expensive thing. I mean, sometimes I order, if I want the most expensive thing, I don't feel as guilty because I don't drink alcohol. So I never inflate the bill. I'm always the cheapest date because I don't drink. So that's my theory.
Yeah, you can pick this up a lobster anytime.
Yeah, I'm allowed to order the most expensive thing at all times because I don't drink.
Yes.
Now, I know that you had a boyfriend in New York that had a very interesting job, completely different to what you do. And I do want to hear about that because as someone who likes to watch SVU for years, I am so interested as to how you dated a cop.
Yeah, I dated an NYPD cop for 4 years. That was wild. We met actually the summer that I was an intern in New York. He picked me up in a bar. And I was underage at the time, which should have been like a red flag that a cop was picking up a 19-year-old.
Did you have fake ID?
Oh yeah, I had a great fake ID.
So maybe that was...
You know, it was an awful fake ID that looked nothing like me. It was an Australian. I'm clearly not Australian.
Yes, okay, yes.
So yeah, we met in a bar the summer I was in New York as an intern and had like a whirlwind summer in New York City romance, and it was great. And I went back to finish school, so we were long distance for a while. And so when I moved to New York right after college, we moved in right away, and we were together for 4 years. And during those 4 years, I watched him grow in his career. He started as a transit cop in Transit District 30, Hoyt-Schermerhorn, Brooklyn.
Okay.
And by towards the end of our relationship, he became a special victims division detective. So literally like a real life detective stabler.
Wow. In my head though, I imagine you coming home and being like, I had the worst day. I was stuck in the wrong seat at Fashion Week, and you know, Kris Jenner was bossy in front of me, and he's like, okay, well, let me tell you what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Someone tried to stab me on the F train, and right? It's so different perspective.
It was wild. I always say we lived in different New Yorks. In the years that we lived together, we shared like a crappy apartment in Midtown East, a teeny tiny apartment because that's all we could afford. And he would be stuck at home most nights while I was out schmoozing and reporting on galas. I was on like the charity circuit during those years. And he would always text me like, I just had Domino's for the 4th time this week and you're at Cipriani's again. And I'm like, oh, this place. If I have to have the speed ass one more time this week.
I know.
And I actually got in the habit of like sneaking. They would pass at Cipriani during those years. They would pass out dessert on little plates at the gala. And by that point in the gala, everyone's up and around and talking, and no one eats their dessert. So I would steal dessert put it in my bag on the Cipriani's plate and bring it home to him.
That was so cool.
At one point we did have like a collection of Cipriani plates.
Oh, I love that. I mean, that's like me with my bathrobes that I steal from hotels.
Oh,
I hope no one's
Well, no.
I'm well known in the hotel circuit. I just love a good hotel robe.
Yes, I don't want to blow your cover, but Marge is actually going to somewhere that I'm very jealous she's going. And I know you met someone very fancy when you were there. Marge is going to Mystique. I said if she goes to the Maldives without me, then I'm never speaking to her again.
I'm not going till next year, but we're booking it now with 2 other couples because I go on one major vacation a year because with my work schedule, obviously it's very hard to go on a vacation like that. And, you know, Mystique isn't the easiest destination to get to and rent a villa and all that nonsense. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Did
It's
you
fabulous.
love Mystique? Is it so fabulous? It's so worth it, right?
It's like from another time. It's unreal. Yeah. No crowds, no riffraff. Like
That's the way I like to travel. I mean, I'm just not a girl who loves the Jamaica. I'm sorry. You know, certain parts of Jamaica are good, but I just don't love that rah-rah. I love a party, but like a barefoot elegance. And that's what they say Mystique is like, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now, who did you run into while you were there?
I ran into Pippa Middleton, the Middleton family. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this, but they go there on holiday I think it's every January.
Oh, yes. Oh, I want to see the Middletons.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm definitely never invited back to Mystique for telling you that now.
Stop. Because there's no hotels on Mystique, right? You have to rent a villa.
There's one tiny hotel, I think it's still there, called Cotton House, and it has like 10 rooms. But yeah, otherwise you must rent a villa. And what they don't always tell you is that on Mystique you have to be approved to rent a villa. So like they don't just let anyone go.
Oh, Jesus. I didn't do my approval yet. I don't know if I did my approval, but I am going with my friends, the Steinbergs, and they're very...
Yes, they're very well behaved.
They're very well behaved and well to do, and you know, I'm sure they'll pass the vetting process. If I was going with the other housewives, I don't think we'll be allowed. You know, I'm sure being vetted with the Steinbergs.
Yeah. You'll see this when you go, but on Mystique there is like literally one bar. And I think it's called Basil's. So that's just where everyone goes at nighttime. So when I was there, the Middletons were there, you know, having a great time.
I'm so excited. Now tell me, because, you know, because you are a travel writer, what is the most underrated place that people don't realize is a great place to go?
I mean, it depends what you like doing. A place that I personally love that people think I'm crazy for loving is Canada. It's right there. It's so close. It's very easy to get to. Super quick flight to Toronto or Montreal. And there's so much like adventure to be had, and the cities are interesting, and there's a really great food scene. Vancouver is one of my favorite cities in the world. So yeah, don't write off Canada. It's not as like lame as Americans pretend it is.
Oh, okay. I like that. You went to school there too. You went to McGill.
I did, yeah. So lived in Montreal for 4 years, which is another great city. Super easy to get to from New York. The flight's less than an hour, and parts of it are like being in Europe.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's very European, and I do like
Montreal.
Yeah,
I think my cousin might have been at McGill at the same time as you, thinking about it, and she used to come back to New York really easily back and forth. She did a few years there, and she was like, "It is the most magnificent."
Now, what's the most overrated?
Most overrated?
That everybody goes to, and you're just like, enough already.
Tulum.
Yeah, yeah. Lately, everybody's in Tulum. Everyone's like Tulum.
Yeah.
I'm not going.
Okay, it's decided.
It's decided.
Now, if there was, if you had to only go to one place, now that's it. Like you on the do not fly list for everyone. And there's one place you could take a vacation every year. Where would that be?
Argentina.
I've been dying to go to Argentina.
Yes.
I'm so,
Marge, it is.
I'm so Ava Perón. Like, with my platinum hair. Don't cry for me.
Yes.
Can't you just see it? I mean,
you're going to Mystique. I'm not crying for you.
I know, exactly. Tell me, Argentina, tell me, please, because I really think that's an important trip.
I mean, so much. First of all, Buenos Aires is like, and maybe I was ignorant before I went there, but Buenos Aires is like strikingly sophisticated and European. There are parts of it that look just like Paris. Um, it's a huge city. It's like
I've been
they
saying
love to
that
go
for years.
out. They love to live life. It's like, it's amazing. The food is so good there.
Steak.
Wine, obviously, you don't drink, but the wine is really good. And I mean, if you can make it down to Patagonia, where you can go hiking and skiing and experience the mountains, it's stunning.
But what about like, and they say, well, Uruguay is a different country, but I'm saying Punta de Este in Uruguay, they say is very fabulous.
It's right next door to Argentina,
Yeah,
and in
next
fact,
door,
many people from Buenos Aires treat it like their Hamptons almost. So they'll go there like for weekends or like a week at a time. And Uruguay is super, super chic. It's a great beach destination. But it's interesting, the season is super, super short in Uruguay. So the popular time to go is literally like Christmas to January 15th. And then it's deserted the rest of the year, it feels like.
Wow, so
Yeah.
short.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah, I heard the clothes in Argentina, in Buenos Aires are amazing. The clothes, the steak, the leather, fabulous. I think we have
Men, my gosh.
the men. I mean, you have to go for the men. I'm married. I already pulled that stuff once. I think it's not going to go over too well if I try that again. So.
Yes, I do want to point to everyone, Todd is eligible and available. That's my favorite thing. When you sent your bio, it's very clear you are eligible and available. So I want to make that clear to everyone. And if you land this guy, you're going to travel.
Thank
all over
you.
the
My
world.
God.
So people,
Exactly.
applications.
Not only is he cute, but Jesus, you get to travel. I mean, come on, adorable, fun, fabulous, and
And he'll steal you a dessert.
yes, the destinations are unbelievable.
So we ask everyone who came on the podcast 3 questions. And the first one is, what is your most entrepreneurial advice? You know, I think you've been very entrepreneurial. You've made some real decisions on the fly. So anyone sat there at home right now, maybe they just finished law school or in a career, what's your most real advice?
Don't be afraid to say no. Like, you need to learn to say no to the things that aren't right for you. I think when I was really early on in my career as a writer, I would just say yes to everything because I was so eager to work. But now I'm like a decade into my career at this point. I've become a lot more discerning about things that just aren't interesting to me or boring, or things I know that will be too tedious and take up too much of my time or just aren't paid enough. So you just have to be, when you're an entrepreneur and when you're a writer, you're an entrepreneur for yourself. But I mean, I would say this about any business, you just need to learn to say no.
I think that's good. I think that's so good. I also ask everybody this question. What is your big boy panty moment? When did you realize, like, holy shit, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get through it? What was that pivotal moment where you're like, oh crap, I got to pull up my pants?
Big boy panty moment. So when I first left New York and I was like living out of a suitcase, there was a time when I flew from Europe to China and the airline lost literally everything. And I just woke up and was like, I'm on my own in like a very foreign country. I do not speak the language. And like, I got to find an H&M and buy a new t-shirt. So yeah, that was my big boy moment, I guess. My big boy panty moment.
Yeah, your big boy panty moment.
Well, that was literally your pantless moment.
Yeah, your big boy
Last
panty
moment,
moment.
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's
But things like that happen, and you just have to learn to roll with the punches. Life happens.
It's so significant of like when you just like, I'm sure at that time in your life you're like, oh my God, like all the decisions you made that led up to that moment made you feel very like naked and alone, literally.
Yes, literally.
So what percentage would you say you are? We say the Marge's success we credit to 50% delusion and 50% determination.
90% delusion, 10%.
Oh, yes, people. 90% delusion, 10% determination. Because people don't realize delusion is what makes it happen. People think that's a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Yes. I am like an ordinary guy from Massachusetts. I didn't grow up with enormous privilege. I didn't grow up with connections. I didn't grow up, you know, for a society reporter, I became very acutely aware of just how like regular I am. But still, I've followed my dream and I've ended up with this really interesting career that I'm very passionate about. So, you know, if you can have the delusion to dream of something for yourself, then you can make it happen.
You are absolutely right. I love that. That is like, you're the epitome of the caviar dreamer. I just love that so much. Because I think some people, when they come on, I'm like, oh no, I'm all determined. I'm like, bullshit. People don't get that far unless they're delusional. Because you know what? You start somewhere that's not as big as you were when you got here. And if you didn't have like delusion, you're never going to make it.
It's so true.
And I just love that so much.
So tell everyone where they could find you.
You can find me on Instagram, Eat Gay Love.
I love that.
Eat Gay Love, so good. Such best Instagram handle, Eat Gay Love. And you write for Condé Nast. We can find all your articles literally everywhere.
If they pay, I will write for them.
If they pay, I mean, that's so good. And I mean, where are you going next?
Where am I going next? Next week, I have a wedding in Asheville, North Carolina. So I'm doing a little southern road trip.
Oh, good for you.
I'm like already sweating just thinking about it. I'm from the North. I overheat very easily. So like, whew.
I know. Thank you so much. Everybody follow my favorite, Todd Plummer, Eat Gay Love. Thank you so much for coming on. You are just a breath of fresh air.
Thanks,
and
ladies.
So inspirational to so many people.
Bye, ladies.
He is adorable.
Isn't he the greatest?
The greatest. And he followed his dream. I love that he got the delusional comment.
He did.
Because it's true, from very humble beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing what he wants. He's living out his best life. Went to law school. I mean, he had to tell his parents,
And I think that's one thing. People subscribe to like what they think they should do as the dream, a serious profession. And, it doesn't always, money doesn't equate to happiness. And I think people often, success is measured financially, and it's not always the way.
It's how happy. It's happiness, because guess what? Your money isn't going to make you happy every single day. Mm-hmm. I mean, money makes things easier sometimes, but it doesn't bring you happiness. And I know, and it's just very interesting because you're working so hard, you're not enjoying your life. Your life is passing you by. And he started his life, and it brings him joy every day to travel, to do fun things. And he wasn't going to be happy being a lawyer. And you have to realize that you have to put a halt to things you don't want to do and really start living the way you want to live your life. And I think he's the perfect example of that.
And it's so funny because I was thinking about this last night. I'm now the age you were when I met you.
Oh, I know. Do you believe it?
Is that not strange?
It's a little
and
scary.
I wish I was still 13 years.
I wish I was still that same age.
But isn't that crazy? And then,
well, I'm 4 years older than my mother was when I first gave birth. My mother was a grandmother, 50, and I'm 54.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. And I was thinking of it last night. I was laying in bed thinking of it. You know how you have those racing thoughts. And I was just thinking, like, the trajectory of your career and what you've achieved with all the setbacks is so inspiring. Because when I met you, you had been working on Macbeth Collection for so long, and you had a factory. And since then, like, the way you've grown the brand with the licensing and the opportunities and the networking and everything that you've done, and now you're on a TV show. Like, sometimes I don't think we think about it.
No, we don't think about it. I think it's kind of fun. You have a book. We've done so much.
Even so like reading the book, I don't know why last night in bed it hit me. I guess because I was thinking in ages.
Well, because we also live it every single day. So for us, we're like, because we're still trudging along, doing our shit, complaining about nonsense.
And I think last night I thought about it in that way, like, oh God, we're so busy. We're always thinking of what's next. We don't take time to acknowledge how fast time has gone.
It's true. And I think I think that's appropriate. And I think Todd has, when he said he had a quarter of a life crisis, so he probably had a life crisis at 25 years old when he was like in law school. And I think it's important to realize at any point in your life, reevaluate. Are you happy? Is this what I want to do? Always have a goal. You could change your career path at any given moment. Do what you want to be doing. and just make it happen, people.
You have to.
Like he said, he comes from humble beginnings, and that's it.
And you get one shot, like one shot at life. You
Yeah,
have to
exactly.
take it.
Life is short. There's no fucking do-overs.
No, and the worst thing that
Meaning,
you have to
like,
just say
we're
no.
not coming back again. So just make it happen now.
You have to. So thank you again for tuning in, Caviar Dreamers. Hope we're enjoying our Pride Month episodes.
Yes.
We're going to go and get ready now for the march, raising the pride flag.
I'll be raising
town.
the pride flag in town. I'm so lucky to live in the most diverse LGBTQ plus community in Bergen County.
And it'll be the third year in a row.
Third year in a row I'm raising the, yes.
And I'm very proud of it.
Oh, thank you, Lexi.
It's
And
really
I'm very blessed to live in such a great place with such a great community. And
you are an amazing ally to the community.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
everyone thanks you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
So you can find us every week with new episodes at Caviar Dreams Tuna Fish Budget, everywhere you find your podcast, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, all the good stuff. And you can find us on Instagram with the same name, and at The Real Margaret Joseph and The Life of Mrs. B. And follow Macbeth Collection.
Yeah,
and buy the book. Oh, God.
buy
Now
the
you
book.
need a list. Just go on the website and fill out all the things.
Exactly. Just get it all. Get it all. We have a lot to say.
Keep dreaming.
Keep dreaming, Caviar Dreamers. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.